Okay, so let's dig into this. AI. It really feels like, I don't know, just yesterday it was this abstract thing, right? Futuristic sci-fi movie stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And then, bam, suddenly it's just everywhere. It's on our phones, filtering spam in our email, telling us what movie to watch next.
Right, streaming recommendations, even how your smartphone camera works, getting that perfect shot.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
just, it's here. It's present.
Absolutely. And I think the big shift, the thing we're seeing is that it's moved out of those, specialized labs or super expensive corporate systems,
Uh,
and it's landed right in our laps. Tools that are often free or pretty low cost anyway,
yeah.
that anyone can basically pick up and start using like today.
So it's not just for the big guys anymore.
Not at all. That's the real change, this democratization. It's kind of like going from needing a massive printing press to just having a regular printer at home. Suddenly, everyone can do it.
And that huge shift, this
Mhm.
this explosion of AI in everyday life.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. Specifically, how it's changing the whole world of work, but even more pointedly for you listening,
Yeah.
how it's starting to really impact the co-working and flexible real estate world.
Yeah. The space you operate in or invest in or design for.
Right. We've spent a good chunk of time digging through a whole lot of source material that was provided on this exact topic, really trying to get a handle on AI adoption, what people are actually doing with it now, and what the trends look like, specifically for flexible workspaces.
Yeah. There was quite a bit to unpack there.
For sure. So our mission today, it isn't just to, list off a bunch of cool AI tools, though we'll definitely talk about some interesting ones.
Oh, yeah. There's some fascinating examples.
But it's more about understanding the bigger picture, right? That macro shift AI represents. How is it actually changing daily work for people right now?
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like today inside co-working spaces? What might be coming next? This idea of an intelligent environment.
And crucially,
And yeah, crucially, what can you actually do about it? Like
Yeah.
today, where you are. What's the practical takeaway? Think of it as a journey, maybe, from that big global AI picture all the way down to something actionable you could try tomorrow.
yeah, bridging that gap between the hype and the how-to.
Exactly. And we'll try to look at this from a couple of different angles, trying to capture different viewpoints in the industry.
Right, sort of balancing that practical on-the-ground perspective, maybe someone running a space day to day.
Yeah, that's kind of my hat here, the how does this actually work perspective.
The more maybe strategic tech-focused view, looking at how these technologies are being built, how they connect, where it's all potentially heading.
So it's a conversation, really,
Yeah.
trying to help you navigate what can feel like a pretty complex, maybe even a bit overwhelming topic sometimes.
Please jump in.
All right, so first things first. Why is everyone suddenly talking about AI? Not as some far-off dream, but like something they used 5 minutes ago to write an email.
Well, it really comes back to that idea. The source material talks about this everyday AI.
Okay.
We used to think AI meant, HAL 9000,
Right.
supercomputers humming away in a basement somewhere, meeting teams of PhDs and massive budgets.
Right, totally inaccessible.
Like, exactly. That's just not the reality anymore. Most of these powerful tools are cloud-based.
Yeah.
You access them through a web browser, maybe an app on your phone.
Mhm.
You really, truly don't need to be a coding genius to use ChatGPT to whip up a draft email or, use Canva's AI features to create a quick social media graphic. The barriers, they've just plummeted.
Okay, so it's easy to get your hands on.
Super easy. And that leads to the next point, the sheer scale of adoption. That's why it feels like it's everywhere because, well, it's everywhere your members are, everywhere you likely are too.
So give me some examples. How widespread are we talking?
Okay, let's take AI writing assistants, just that one category. Tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini from Google, Grammarly, which people used even before this recent boom, Notion AI, Jasper, Copy.ai. The list goes on.
Right, I see those names constantly.
And people are using them for everything. Drafting emails, writing reports, brainstorming ideas, creating marketing content, website copy, social media updates. You name it, look at ChatGPT. The source mentions over 400 million weekly active users.
Weekly. Wow.
Weekly. For Grammarly, even with all the new competition, it still pulls in something like 37.7 million organic visits a month just for writing help. These aren't some niche tools for tech geeks. They're mainstream work tools now.
Yeah, I mean, Canva. I see people using Canva literally every single day for presentations, flyers, social posts. it feels like it's just the default design tool now.
Absolutely. And weaving AI into their features, like their Magic Studio, has just poured fuel on that fire. It lets anyone generate visuals really fast, and their scale, it's nuts. The source mentioned 263.5 million monthly global organic visits, over 170 million active customers.
That's huge.
It's massive. And then you have the pure AI image generators, Midjourney, Adobe's Firefly, Stable Diffusion, Leonardo AI doing the same thing for creating images from text prompts. It radically lowers the barrier for creating professional-looking visual content.
So if a small business owner or a freelancer working out of my space, or even my own marketing person.
Yeah. They can suddenly create really compelling marketing stuff without needing a dedicated graphic designer for every little thing. It just massively boosts their potential output.
Okay. That makes sense for creative stuff. What about the less glamorous tasks, like meetings? Please tell me AI is making meetings less painful.
Oh, thankfully, yes. This is a big one. AI meeting transcription and summarization tools. Think Fathom, Otter.ai, Fireflies.ai. They're exploding.
How do they work?
They basically listen in on your meeting online or even in person, sometimes transcribe it in real time, figure out who said what.
Speaker identification. Okay.
Yep. And then they generate summaries, often pulling out key decisions and action items automatically. Many even integrate right into your CRM or project management software. Fathom, for example, the source notes it's used at over 180,000 companies now, and their revenue grew like 90x recently. Usage up 20x.
90 times. That's wild.
It shows the demand. Think about the time saved. No more frantically scribbling notes, trying to remember who agreed to do what, or spending an hour typing up minutes afterwards. It just captures it all.
That's honestly a game changer for anyone who sits in a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
Which, let's be real, is most knowledge workers in a flexible space.
Absolutely. And then you've got the more general purpose AI chatbots and virtual assistants.
Yeah.
Your ChatGPTs, Claudes, Geminis, Microsoft's Copilot.
Right, the ones you can ask anything.
Pretty much. They're like Swiss Army knives. Great for getting quick information, helping with various tasks, even handling initial customer support questions. The source mentioned chatbots are a really common way for businesses to dip their toes into AI, something like a 69% adoption rate as an entry point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's an easy way to start experimenting. Need to brainstorm marketing angles, draft a quick apology email, get a summary of a dense article. These tools are often the first stop.
And what about connecting all these different tools, making them work together automatically?
Yeah, that's where AI automation platforms like Zapier really shine. They've always been about connecting different apps, right? If this happens in app A, then do that in app B.
Automating workflows.
Exactly. But now they're increasingly adding AI actions into those workflows. Zapier gets around 10.2 million visits a month, showing how huge the demand for automation is. And AI just makes those automations smarter. Instead of a simple trigger action, it can be like, when this email arrives, use AI to analyze its sentiment and key points, then decide which response template to use, personalize it using AI, and then send it via app B.
Okay, so it's adding intelligence into the automation itself.
Precisely. Much more sophisticated possibility.
So we're not just talking AI for writing emails or making pretty pictures. It's also for, like, serious research. Finding information faster.
Definitely. Look at AI search engines. Perplexity AI is a big one. Google's doing it with AI overviews. Instead of just getting a list of blue links, you ask a question conversationally and you get a summarized answer, often with the sources cited right there.
So it synthesizes the information for you.
It helps you grasp a topic or find specific facts much faster. Perplexity already has over 10 million monthly active users. It's changing how people research. And then there are more specialized tools like Semly AI or Brandwatch, using AI specifically for market research, analyzing market trends, customer sentiment online, what competitors are up to. Getting those kinds of deep insights used to take huge amounts of time or really expensive resources. Now it's much more accessible.
Okay. So pulling this all together, it sounds like the source material is basically saying this isn't just about a few cool new apps people are playing with. It's a really fundamental, large-scale shift in how people are approaching their work, because these tools are so easy to get, so powerful, and just so many people are actually using them now.
That's absolutely the core point of this first section. The sheer accessibility and the massive adoption rates mean AI isn't some optional extra or niche tech anymore. It's rapidly becoming just an embedded, expected part of how professionals get things done individually and in teams across pretty much every industry.
Right.
And that level of widespread use is what really sets the stage for its impact on the places where all this modern work is happening, places exactly like co-working spaces. The tools are already walking in the door with your members, whether you, as an operator, have officially adopted any AI strategy yet or not.
Okay, yeah. That lands on a personal level for the individual worker. I totally see it. I see my members using these kinds of tools constantly right now. But, and this is where my operator hack clicks firmly into place, the real practical question becomes, okay, great. My members have cool tools, but how is my business, the co-working space itself, the operation, the building, how is that fundamentally changing because of all this? How do I use it?
That's the critical connection, isn't it? Moving from individual use to business impact. You're right. The fact that members are using these tools changes their expectations of the work environment. A space that seamlessly supports this tech becomes more valuable. But it's absolutely also about how you, as the operator or the developer or the designer, can actively leverage AI within your own operations, your assets, your services. And we'll definitely get into that, starting with how these tools are changing work dynamics more broadly.
Okay, good. Because that's the million-dollar question for anyone listening who runs or owns a space. Let's tackle that broader workplace change first then. How are these everyday AI tools shifting things beyond just helping one person write faster?
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than just personal productivity hacks, although those are significant. When teams start integrating these tools into their shared workflows, it begins to change how they collaborate, how projects get done, how decisions are made. The source material really highlights how AI is fundamentally accelerating core work processes.
Accelerating, like how? What does that actually look like in a typical workday for someone or a team that's really leaning into AI?
Well, think about just raw speed on certain tasks. Drafting documents, like we said, a report, a proposal, even a complex email that might have taken, I don't know, an hour or more before. Now you can get a really solid first draft generated by AI in literally seconds or minutes.
Okay, so faster starting points.
Much faster. Or think about shrinking decision loops. Instead of waiting days for someone to gather market research or analyze customer feedback manually, you can use AI search or analysis tools to get synthesized summaries or initial insights almost instantly. It just tightens the cycle between question, data, and decision.
Right, so you're spending less time on that initial legwork, the data gathering, the blank page staring, and more time actually thinking, analyzing, strategizing.
Exactly. That's the framing the source material consistently uses. AI as a tool to augment human capabilities. This is such a crucial way to think about it.
Talk about
Yeah. It's generally less about AI taking over jobs entirely and much more about AI freeing up human brain power from the routine, the repetitive, the time-consuming tasks. This lets people focus their energy on the things humans are uniquely brilliant at.
like what?
Creativity, complex strategic thinking, nuanced problem solving, and this is critical interpersonal skills, empathy, building relationships. The source talks about AI freeing up time from routine tasks, allowing people to dedicate more energy to creative, strategic, and interpersonal work.
I like that framing. They use AI as a junior teammate rather than a job stealer.
Yeah, it's a helpful analogy. It implies collaboration, support, enhancement. The AI handles the first pass, the data crunching, the initial draft, maybe the scheduling chaos.
Ah, yes, the scheduling chaos.
Right, and that allows the human team members to operate at a higher level, focusing their cognitive load and their time on those uniquely human contributions. Imagine the difference for your community managers if, say, half of their repetitive admin tasks were just handled.
Yeah, instead of spending an hour wrestling with the booking system or writing the same welcome email for the 5th time, they get a draft in 5 minutes from the AI. And they spend the other 55 minutes actually talking to members, planning an event that creates real connection, or solving a tricky issue that needs a human touch.
Exactly that. That's the potential impact on how work feels and what people do. Let's run through some specific examples of this broader workplace impact using those tool categories we mentioned.
Okay.
So for general productivity, think about automating communication drafts, emails, meeting agendas, quick updates, or using those AI transcription services we talked about to capture meeting notes automatically. That's less administrative drag for everyone involved. The source notes, this is especially helpful for freelancers or small teams where people wear many hats.
Right, less context switching, less getting bogged down in admin. What about creativity? Does AI genuinely help people be more creative, or does it just churn out generic stuff?
That's a fair question. I think it primarily enables more creativity by lowering the barriers to producing content. Using AI design tools for marketing materials or presentations means you can generate professional looking output quickly, even if you're not a designer. You can try out more ideas, iterate faster.
So it makes creation more accessible.
Exactly. And it can absolutely be a powerful brainstorming partner. The source mentions freelancers using AI like a brainstorming buddy, asking it for ideas when they feel stuck. It can generate angles or concepts you might never have thought of on your own.
Okay, I can see that, like having an infinitely patient, knowledgeable collaborator to bounce ideas off.
Kind of. And for research, we touched on this, but AI search and market research tools allow for incredibly rapid gathering and synthesis of huge amounts of information, analyzing industry reports, understanding competitor moves, getting up to speed on a complex topic quickly. These were all significant hurdles, especially for smaller organizations without dedicated research departments or big budgets. AI makes that much more feasible.
And you mentioned personalized learning potential earlier. That sounds really interesting, especially for the kinds of people often using co-working spaces, freelancers, entrepreneurs, people needing to constantly learn new skills.
Yeah, the potential here is significant. AI could tailor learning pathways, help individuals grasp complex subjects more efficiently by providing explanations suited to their level, suggesting relevant resources, creating practice exercises. For anyone needing to adapt and upskill quickly to stay relevant, which is basically everyone these days, but especially freelancers and small business owners, this could be incredibly valuable.
Okay, so let's pause for a second. If you're listening, picture your busiest Monday morning, that frantic feeling. Where could AI shave off, say, just 15 minutes?
Yeah, it's a good exercise.
I mean, based on what we've just discussed,
Yeah.
maybe drafting those first response emails to new tour inquiries,
Yeah.
getting a quick AI summary of that long industry report you were meant to read, or just having the notes from your 9 a.m. team sync meeting automatically generated with action items instead of you trying to type while talking.
Exactly. The impact on the daily grind is real, and it's
Yeah.
happening now for individuals and teams who are embracing these tools.
Right.
And it's this widespread adoption at the individual and team level that really creates the fertile ground, the necessity almost for AI to fundamentally impact the places where this work happens, like your co-working space. The tools are in the building, the work styles are shifting. So how does the space itself and the business of running it adapt and leverage this?
Okay, let's make that jump. We've established AI is everywhere personally. It's changing work dynamics generally. Now let's bring it right home. Co-working, flexible real estate. What is actually happening today in this industry?
Right. Let's get practical for operators, developers, designers listening. The source material does acknowledge, maybe realistically, that AI adoption within the actual operations and management of co-working spaces is probably still in its, let's say, early stages compared to some of those adjacent industries we'll talk about later, like CRE or hospitality. They've maybe been using certain types of AI a bit longer.
Yeah, that feels right. Co-working is such a multifaceted thing, isn't it? So many different elements to juggle.
It really is. You've got your members, all with incredibly different needs and workflows. You've got the operators trying to manage the community, the building, the services, the P&L. You have developers and owners focused on the asset value and performance. You've got architects and designers shaping the physical environment, and then all the vendors providing the tech, the furniture, the cleaning services.
It's a complex ecosystem.
Definitely. And it's a big one, too. The source mentioned market growth projections, something like $22 billion in 2024, potentially growing to over $82 billion by 2034. So it's a significant, fast-growing industry that's now facing this major technological wave.
Okay, so let's break it down by stakeholder. Let's start with the operators, the people running the spaces day to day. How are they starting to use AI right now? What are the immediate practical things they're doing beyond just noticing members using ChatGPT?
Okay, one of the biggest and most immediate areas is space management and optimization. This is huge. Operators are beginning to use AI analytics, often fueled by data coming from occupancy sensors or maybe even just their access control systems, to get a much clearer picture of how their physical space is actually being used. Not just guessing, but seeing the patterns.
Like figuring out which desks are actually the most popular, or noticing that one specific meeting room is always booked solid, while another one sits empty most of the time, or seeing that the quiet zone is packed in the mornings but deserted after lunch.
Exactly, that kind of granular insight. AI can pinpoint underutilized zones. Maybe that bank of hot desks by the window rarely gets used, or that small phone booth is surprisingly unpopular. This isn't just anecdotal anymore, it becomes data-driven insight. That allows operators to make much smarter decisions about things like layout changes, resource allocation, maybe converting those unpopular desks into a different type of space, or even informing future design choices.
So using data to design better spaces.
Precisely. And vendors are building tools for this. Nexudis, for instance, a big player in co-working software, has built-in AI tools like trends and resource demand that specifically analyze usage data to give operators these kinds of insights. And data from occupancy sensors, companies like Density.io make those, are feeding into these analytics platforms.
Okay, so better space use.
Boom.
Can AI help with, say, pricing or figuring out demand in advance?
Yes, absolutely. That's a direct application of analyzing usage patterns. AI can enable dynamic pricing. Think surge pricing for meeting rooms during peak demand hours, or maybe offering discounts on hot desks during historically slow periods to drive occupancy.
Like hotels or airlines do.
Exactly like that. And predictive forecasting helps operators anticipate demand for desks or meeting rooms days or even weeks out. This improves scheduling, staffing, resource planning, and has the potential to significantly boost revenue yield from the same physical space.
Okay, optimizing the physical asset. What about the member experience, the services side? That's huge for co-working.
Critical. And AI is making inroads here, primarily focused on efficiency and freeing up your most valuable resource, your community team's time. AI-powered chatbots are a prime example. You can build them with tools like VoiceFlow or even custom GPTs now to provide 247 member support.
For basic questions.
Yeah, handling the frequently asked questions, what's the Wi-Fi password, how do I book the podcast room, where can I find coffee? Whoop. They can check availability, handle simple booking requests, provide info on amenities. This directly pulls your community managers out of that repetitive Q&A loop.
So the community manager isn't spending their day being a walking FAQ.
Exactly. They're freed up to focus on the higher value, uniquely human interactions. Actually building community, resolving complex member issues that need empathy and nuance, fostering connections between members, planning and executing events that have real impact. The AI handles the first line of support. The human team delivers the exceptional hospitality and community building.
That makes a ton of sense, freeing up human capacity.
And AI also enables more personalized communication, but at scale. Using automation tools, maybe Zapier connected to an AI API like ChatGPT's, you can automate things like sending personalized welcome messages to new members, targeted event reminders based on someone's industry or past attendance, or even sending tips on how to use the space based on their observed usage patterns.
Getting more tailored.
Yeah. Some platforms are even exploring AI-driven networking suggestions, analyzing member profiles, skills, and maybe stated goals to suggest potentially valuable connections within the community.
Wow, okay. Personalized communication, automated support. That sounds like it directly lifts strategies from industries like hospitality or even online retail who've been doing this personalization thing for a while.
It absolutely does, and that's a clear, actionable opportunity for co-working operators right now. Marketing and sales is another area with immediate wins.
Like writing marketing emails.
That's the obvious one, yes. Using AI writing assistants for website copy, social media posts, blog content, email campaigns, huge time saver, helps maintain consistency. But here's a really interesting specific example that the source material highlighted. Analyzing tour transcripts.
Tour transcripts. You mean actually recording and transcribing the sales tours people take of the space?
Exactly, with permission, obviously. But using a transcription service like Otter.ai or Fathom to capture the conversation during a tour, and then feeding that transcript into an AI model like ChatGPT or Claude for analysis.
What kind of analysis?
AI can identify the most common questions prospects ask, pinpoint objections that come up repeatedly, highlight which parts of your sales pitch seem to resonate most based on sentiment analysis of their responses, or even spot inconsistencies in how different team members deliver the tour.
Whoa. Okay, that's clever. So instead of just relying on the tour guide's gut feeling about how it went, you're getting actual data-driven feedback on your sales process, spotting patterns across dozens or hundreds of tours.
It's incredibly powerful for refining your sales messaging, improving your tour guide training, and ultimately increasing conversion rates. Similarly, AI tools can analyze member feedback from surveys, online reviews, suggestion boxes to quickly surface sentiment trends. Are people happy? What do they love? What are the recurring complaints? AI can digest all that qualitative data far faster than a human reading through everything.
That's huge for staying on top of member satisfaction.
Okay.
What about predicting things? Like, can AI tell me if a member is likely to leave before they actually cancel their membership?
That's a major focus for predictive analytics in this space. Nexudis, again, the source mentions they offer an AI-powered churn and engagement tool designed specifically for this. It analyzes member activity patterns, how often they come in, which resources they use, when their last interaction was, maybe even payment history patterns to identify members who are at higher risk of
So
churning.
you can intervene?
Exactly. It allows operators to be proactive, reach out with a targeted offer, a check-in conversation, or some other retention effort before that member walks out the door. AI can also analyze overall revenue trends, help optimize pricing strategies across different membership types, or forecast financial performance with greater accuracy.
Okay, so lots on the software and analytics side. What about integrating AI with the physical building itself? You hear a lot about smart buildings.
Absolutely. AI is increasingly the brain behind smart building technologies relevant to co-working. It can optimize energy consumption, controlling lighting, heating, ventilation, air conditioning based on real-time occupancy data from sensors and even weather forecasts, not just a fixed timer schedule. That saves significant costs and improves comfort.
So the lights turn off automatically in empty meeting rooms. The AC adjusts based on how many people are actually on the floor.
Precisely. And AI-enhanced access control systems are becoming more common, using things like facial recognition, mobile credentials, or smart locks from companies like Suprema, PropTech.ai with their Edge.ai product, or Latch. These improve security and provide a much more seamless entry experience for members.
And I bet that access data feeds back into the space usage analytics.
Bingo! It provides valuable, often anonymized data on member movement patterns, which entrances are used most, peak traffic times, how people flow through the space. That data is gold for optimizing layout and operations.
So AI isn't just in the manager's dashboard. It's literally in the doors, the lights, the thermostats, the sensors in the ceiling.
It's becoming embedded in the physical infrastructure, making the building itself more intelligent, more responsive, more efficient. The source material actually highlights a case study, a place called Good Work Co., that's apparently taking a really holistic approach already, using AI for smart access control, generating booking heat maps from usage data, employing virtual assistants for support, optimizing the environment, using predictive analytics, and even facilitating AI-driven networking among members.
Wow. Okay, so that vision of an integrated intelligent space, it's not just theory for some operators. They're actually building it today.
It seems so. It's
Yeah.
happening now, even if it's still early days overall.
Okay, that's a great overview for operators. We know members are bringing their own AI tools, and they benefit from working in a space that maybe has better Wi-Fi or quiet zones suited for AI-assisted work. What about the developers and owners, the people investing in and building these properties? How is AI relevant to them?
For developers and asset owners, AI is becoming a really powerful tool for making smarter, more data-informed decisions across the entire real estate lifecycle, from acquisition to disposition.
Like deciding where to build or buy.
Exactly. Market analysis and site selection is a key area. AI can digest and analyze massive, incredibly diverse data sets, demographics, traffic patterns, local business growth trends, new construction pipelines, competitor locations, even online search trends or social media sentiment about an area. It can process far more variables than traditional methods to identify potentially optimal locations for new flexible workspace ventures or any type of commercial real estate, really.
So it might spot opportunities in areas that traditional analysis, looking at maybe fewer data points, might have overlooked.
Potentially, yes. The source mentioned examples, I think, mostly in residential development, where AI identified sites significantly outperform those chosen using conventional methods. AI-powered tools can generate heat maps showing predicted rent growth, forecast occupancy rates, and model demand with potentially greater accuracy.
And valuing properties or analyzing investments.
Another big one, AI is used for automated valuation models, AVMs, that provide near-instant property value estimates, though human oversight is still key there. But more sophisticated AI models can incorporate a much wider range of complex factors: market volatility, macroeconomic indicators, specific property features, lease details to generate more nuanced valuations, forecast potential ROI under different scenarios, and assess investment risk more comprehensively. Some firms using AI systematically for investment analysis have reportedly outperformed market benchmarks.
Okay, so Better decisions on where and what to buy or build.
Hmm.
Can AI help actually design the building or the interior layout itself from the owner's perspective?
Absolutely. And this is an area where we're seeing some really striking tangible results right now, especially with generative design AI. Tools like Archistar or BIC are transforming the early stage design and space planning process.
How's that work?
Basically, the owner or developer working with their architect inputs the parameters, the building footprint, the target density or number of members, the required mix of space types, offices, meeting rooms, open desks, maybe specific constraints like building codes, natural light requirements, or even desired circulation patterns. The AI then rapidly generates and evaluates hundreds, sometimes thousands, of different layout iterations that meet those criteria.
Hundreds or thousands of options generated automatically. That's way beyond what a human team could sketch out, right?
Exponentially beyond in the same time frame. It allows for much broader exploration of possibilities in the very early stages, and it's leading to measurable financial outcomes. The stores provided a really compelling specific example. A co-working operator used one of these tools, BIC, to optimize their floor plan. Compared to the best layout achieved through traditional human design methods, the AI-generated layout managed to fit in 21 additional workstations.
21 more desks in the same footprint.
Exactly, 21 more potential members paying monthly fees. The estimate was that this single optimization could increase their annual revenue from that specific location by around 13%.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. They are primary users, often working closely with developers or operators. They leverage similar generative design tools for that core layout optimization, but they also use AI across the entire design workflow, focusing on aesthetics, functionality, and the human experience within the space.
How else are they using it beyond just optimizing desk count?
Conceptualization and design exploration is a big one.
Mhm.
Using text-to-image AI tools like Adobe Firefly or Midjourney to quickly generate visual mood boards or explore different aesthetic directions based on prompts, or using tools like Morpholio Board or Autodesk Forma to rapidly iterate on different styles, color palettes, material combinations, and spatial arrangements early on.
So kind of like using AI as a super fast, highly visual brainstorming partner for the look and feel.
Precisely. They're guiding the AI, prompting it with creative concepts, using it to explore possibilities much faster than manual sketching or rendering would allow. They become, as the source suggests, more like conductors or curators of AI-generated options, focusing their creative energy on defining the core design problem, setting the right parameters, and refining the AI's output to meet the project's goals.
And layout optimization is key for them too, obviously.
Critical, making sure the space not only fits the required program, but actually works for the people using it. AI analyzes floor plans, the operator's requirements, zoning regulations, and importantly, can even incorporate predicted or actual user behavior data, how people are likely to move, where they congregate, which paths are most common to generate layouts optimized for flow, different work modes, focus versus collaboration, and maybe even intentionally fostering those serendipitous encounters that co-working spaces value. That quick example of fitting 21 extra workstations is just as relevant for the designer achieving efficiency goals.
It really changes the game if you can design based on how people will use the space, not just how you think they will.
It leads to much more adaptive, data-informed, human-centric design. Visualization and presentation is another area being totally revolutionized. AI-powered tools like Spacely AI, ZMO.ai, or platforms integrating Matterport's scanning technology can create stunningly photorealistic 3D renderings and interactive virtual tours incredibly quickly.
Faster and cheaper than traditional methods.
Significantly, according to some vendors. The source cited a claim from Spacely AI that their generative AI can cut rendering costs by as much as 90% and speed up the process for things like bidding packages by a factor of 285 times.
90% cost reduction, almost 300 times faster. I mean, those are just staggering efficiency numbers for a design firm or an architectural practice.
They really highlight the potential for dramatic time and cost savings, freeing up designers' valuable time for more complex design thinking, client interaction, and creative problem solving, rather than laborious rendering tasks.
Makes sense.
AI can also assist designers with material and furniture selection, suggesting options based on budget constraints, aesthetic goals, durability requirements, sustainability targets, or even potentially analyzing the client's desired company culture or typical work patterns to recommend furniture configurations that best support collaboration or focus work.
So AI helps furnish the space too.
It can. By automating repetitive tasks like drafting variations or generating schedules, and by considering complex constraints like budgets, codes, structural limitations early in the process, AI ultimately allows designers to focus more on the creative, strategic, and human aspects of design while also reducing potential errors and costly revisions down the line.
Okay, so AI is touching literally every part of creating and running the physical space, how it's planned, financed, designed, optimized, and operated. What about the vendors, the companies supplying all the technology, furniture, and services to the co-working industry? How are they factoring AI into their offerings?
Vendors are absolutely pivotal in this whole ecosystem because they are the ones actually embedding AI capabilities directly into the products and services that operators, developers, members, and designers use every day. They make AI accessible without everyone needing to become an AI expert themselves.
Like the co-working management software companies building AI features right into their platforms.
Exactly. We mentioned Nexodus building AI for churn prediction, engagement tracking, and resource demand forecasting directly into their software. Other co-working platforms are rapidly following suit or adding similar features. That's a prime example of vendors making sophisticated AI readily available to operators through the tools they already use.
And access control.
Same story. Access control vendors like Suprema, PropTech.ai, Latch, they're embedding AI not just for smarter, more secure, more flexible access, like recognizing faces or using phone credentials reliably, but crucially for collecting that robust, anonymized space usage data that fuels all the optimization analytics we've been talking about.
All right, the data from the door locks feeds the analytics dashboard. It really connects the physical space to the digital insights layer.
It absolutely closes that loop.
Yeah.
And the broader property technology sector is just a whirlwind of innovation right now, bringing AI-driven solutions for property management, leasing analysis, tenant experience platforms, and smart building systems, many of which are directly relevant or adaptable to the unique needs of flexible workspaces.
Okay, what about physical products like furniture? How does AI play a role there?
Furniture vendors are definitely engaging with AI. Firstly, they're using it in their own internal processes for designing new products more efficiently, optimizing manufacturing, managing supply chains. But they're also thinking about how AI influences the features and adaptability of the furniture itself. Major players like Steelcase, Hainworth, Vitra are actively exploring and developing flexible, tech-integrated furniture solutions specifically designed for dynamic, activity-based work environments where needs change constantly.
Flexible furniture for flexible workspaces. Makes sense. How does AI come into the furniture features, though, beyond just the vendor using AI to design it?
Well, AI can help operators or designers select the optimal furniture mix. An AI tool could analyze the space's layout, the different work modes required, collaboration zones, focus pods, meeting areas, budget constraints, and even analyze data on how teams actually work within that specific company or space to recommend furniture configurations that best support those behaviors.
So AI helps you choose the right chairs and desks.
Potentially, yes, by providing data-driven recommendations. Vendors are also using AI for advanced visualization tools, allowing clients to use augmented reality or virtual reality to see exactly how different furniture pieces or configurations will look and fit within their actual space before they commit to buying.
Okay, that's useful. What about the really essential, maybe less flashy services, like cleaning, maintenance, facilities management?
Huge area for AI impact, focusing on efficiency and proactivity. AI can power predictive maintenance for critical building systems, the HVAC, elevators, maybe even plumbing. By analyzing sensor data and historical performance patterns, AI can predict potential failures before they happen.
So you fix the air conditioning before it breaks down on the hottest day of the year.
Exactly. That reduces costly emergency repairs, minimizes disruption to members, and ensures a consistently comfortable and functional environment. AI can also optimize cleaning schedules. Instead of cleaning every area on a fixed rotation, AI uses real-time occupancy data from sensors to direct cleaning crews to the areas that have actually been used most heavily, while perhaps reducing cleaning frequency in zones that were empty.
So smarter cleaning, focusing effort where it's needed.
Yeah, it saves costs on labor and supplies and ensures better hygiene standards where people are actually working. Companies like Building Engines or Verdigris are active in bringing AI to facility management and energy optimization.
Okay, so it really does feel like AI is weaving its way into every single thread of the co-working fabric. The members using their own tools, the operators managing the space and community with AI assistance, the owners and developers making smarter investment and design decisions with AI. the architects using AI to create better spaces, and all the vendors embedding AI into the products and services that make it all run.
It sounds incredibly powerful, but also complex. Like there are a lot of moving parts and potential pitfalls. I have to assume there are some real challenges here too,
Yeah,
right?
oh, absolutely. The source material is very clear on this. While the opportunities are enormous, there are definitely significant hurdles and challenges that operators, developers, and everyone involved needs to actively think about and manage. Like what? What are the big ones?
Well, implementation costs are often mentioned, especially for more sophisticated AI systems involving hardware like sensors or integrated platforms. The initial investment can be a barrier, particularly for smaller, independent operators.
Okay, the upfront cost. Makes sense.
Data privacy and security are huge, maybe the most critical challenge. When you start collecting detailed data on how members use the space, their movement patterns, maybe even integrating with their work tools, you absolutely have to have robust policies, transparent communication, and top-notch security to protect that data and maintain member trust.
Yeah, that feels completely non-negotiable. You're dealing with people's work lives, their location data. Trust is everything.
It is paramount. Then there's the challenge of integration complexity.
Yeah.
How do you make these new AI tools actually talk to your existing systems? Your booking software, your CRM, your access control, your accounting. Getting everything to work together seamlessly can be technically challenging.
Avoiding a patchwork of systems that don't communicate.
Right. And the skills gap is another one. Do your staff, your community managers, your operations team have the necessary skills to effectively use these new AI tools, interpret the data they provide, and manage them day to day? Training and upskilling become really important.
Okay, cost, privacy, integration, skills. What else?
And fundamentally, perhaps the most crucial challenge specifically for the co-working industry is maintaining that essential human element, that sense of community, belonging, genuine connection.
Ah, yes. Balancing the tech with the touch. How do you automate and optimize without making the space feel cold or impersonal?
Exactly. AI should be a tool to augment the community managers, to free them up for more human interaction, not replace those interactions. Getting that balance right, ensuring the technology serves the human experience rather than undermining it, is absolutely critical for the soul of co-working. We'll definitely circle back to these challenges and talk about concrete ways to navigate them when we get to the actionable takeaways.
Good, because those challenges feel very real. Okay, so recapping where we are, AI is everywhere, changing how we work, starting to permeate co-working operations, design, investment, and services.
Yeah.
But if co-working, as you said, is maybe still in the earlier stages of adopting AI compared to some other sectors, where can we look for clues, for inspiration, for proven models on how to implement this stuff effectively?
That's a great question, and it leads directly into the value of looking at adjacent industries. The source material makes a strong point here. Co-working didn't spring out of a vacuum. It draws heavily from several established sectors, primarily commercial real estate, CRE, hospitality, retail, and general workplace or office management.
Okay.
And these industries, in many cases, have more mature AI implementations. They've already figured some things out, run the experiments, developed best practices. Co-working can learn a lot from them.
Like a shortcut, we don't necessarily have to reinvent the AI wheel for everything. We can see how, say, hotels or big office landlords have already used similar tech successfully.
Precisely. The source suggests co-working is uniquely positioned to potentially leapfrog ahead in its AI journey by smartly adapting these proven models and use cases from more mature sectors. It doesn't necessarily have to endure the same trial and error process on every single application.
Okay, let's break those down. Let's start with commercial real estate CRE. Since co-working spaces are fundamentally real estate assets, what can we learn from how the broader CRE world is using AI?
CRE has definitely made significant strides with AI, reaching what the source describes as moderate to high maturity levels in many areas. We touched on some of this. They use AI extensively for things like automated valuation models, AVMs, for quick property value estimates, highly sophisticated market analysis, using vast data sets to predict trends, identify optimal locations for development or acquisition.
Stuff that's directly relevant if you're trying to decide where to open your next co-working location.
Absolutely. AI helps CRE investors optimize large portfolios, assess risk more accurately using predictive modeling, and property management is a big area using AI for predictive maintenance on building systems, HVAC, elevators, optimizing energy consumption across large buildings or portfolios. These are directly applicable to managing the physical aspects of a large co-working facility or multiple sites.
What else from CRE?
Even things like AI tools used for analyzing complex commercial leases or partnership agreements could potentially be adapted by larger co-working operators managing complex head leases or multi-site franchise arrangements. The focus in CRE is often on optimizing the asset value and operational efficiency and scale.
Okay, so CRE gives us models for data-driven site selection, expansion strategies, predictive analytics for demand and pricing on the asset level, and efficient facility management. What about hospitality? That feels like it aligns more with the member experience side of co-working.
Exactly. Hospitality is a fantastic model for the service, personalization, and experience aspects, and it's also generally considered to have moderate to high AI maturity. Hotels, airlines, restaurants, they use AI extensively to understand guest preferences and behavior. They analyze booking history, loyalty program data, feedback, maybe even in-stay interactions to offer highly tailored recommendations suggesting specific services, local restaurants, activities. They personalize the environment, maybe adjusting room temperature or lighting based on stated preferences before the guest arrives. They send targeted promotions or offers based on past behavior.
Hyper-personalization.
Yes. And operational automation is widespread. Chatbots handle routine booking queries and provide 24/7 guest support. Automated checkout kiosks or apps streamline processes. Housekeeping schedules are often optimized using AI based on room status and predicted checkout times. And dynamic pricing for rooms based on real-time demand, competitor rates, local events, and inventory levels is absolutely standard practice.
Okay, so what are the key learnings there for a co-working operator?
Hospitality provides a really strong blueprint for taking member experience and co-working to the next level through hyper-personalization. Imagine AI helping tailor not just a room, but a member's preferred workspace environment lighting, noise level if possible, suggesting relevant events, workshops, or even networking introductions based on their profile, skills, or recent activity in the space. Providing that seamless 24/7 AI support via chatbots for routine needs, freeing up your human community team for higher touch interactions.
And the dynamic pricing.
Definitely. Co-working can borrow heavily from sophisticated hotel revenue management strategies for dynamically pricing meeting rooms, private offices on demand, day passes, or even tiered membership add-ons based on real-time demand and utilization data. And the predictive maintenance focus from hospitality ensuring amenities like the fancy coffee machine, the printers, the crucial Wi-Fi are always reliable is directly transferable.
Okay, hospitality, personalization, service automation, dynamic pricing. What about retail? And that comparison feels maybe less obvious initially. How is AI in retail relevant to running a co-working space?
Retail is actually one of the most mature sectors when it comes to AI adoption, often rated as having high maturity. Think about your online shopping experiences. Personalized recommendations are core. Customers who bought this also bought, or product suggestions based on your browsing history. That's all driven by sophisticated AI algorithms.
Right. Amazon knows what I want before I do.
Pretty much. Customer service in retail is heavily automated. Chatbots and virtual assistants handle millions of inquiries about orders, returns, product information. Inventory management is deeply reliant on AI for demand forecasting, predicting how much of a product to stock and which locations to minimize stockouts while also avoiding costly overstocking. Dynamic pricing is also widespread, adjusting prices based on demand, competitor pricing, inventory levels, even time of day, and fraud detection is another major area where AI is critical for retailers.
Okay, recommendations, inventory, pricing. I can start to see the parallels. How do those translate to co-working?
Well, co-working spaces can use AI to build sophisticated recommendation engines just like retailers. Not for products, but for services suggesting the best type of meeting room for a member's needs based on past bookings or team size, recommending relevant internal events or workshops, or even facilitating valuable connections between members based on shared interests, industries, or complementary skills, essentially recommending people.
Like a professional matchmaking service built into the space.
Potentially, yes. Analyzing member feedback using AI sentiment analysis to quickly understand how people feel about the space, the services, the community vibe, that's directly analogous to how retailers track customer satisfaction and product reviews. And optimizing your inventory, your desks, your private offices, your meeting rooms based on predictive demand forecasting. That's a clear parallel to retail inventory management, ensuring you have the right resources available when members need them.
And dynamic pricing again.
Yep. The principles of dynamically pricing memberships, day passes, or specific services based on demand and utilization could certainly draw inspiration from sophisticated retail pricing models.
Okay, CRE for the asset, hospitality for the experience, retail for recommendations, and inventory management. What about the last one, general workplace and office management? That seems like the most direct comparison for how a co-working space functions internally.
It is very direct, yes. And AI adoption here is growing rapidly, maybe at a moderate maturity level currently, but accelerating fast. In general corporate offices, AI is being used increasingly for workspace optimization, analyzing sensor data to understand how employees actually use the office space, which areas are popular, which are underutilized, and using that data to inform adjustments to layouts, furniture, or even workplace policies.
Just like we talked about for co-working operators.
Exactly. Facility management is another key area, predictive maintenance for building systems, optimizing cleaning schedules based on usage, smart energy management to reduce costs and environmental impact. It's also about enhancing employee productivity through integrated AI tools and creating those smart, responsive building environments that adjust to occupants' needs.
So the learnings here are almost directly plug and play for co-working.
Very much so. The methods for workspace optimization using real usage data are directly applicable. Strategies for improving facility efficiency and implementing predictive maintenance are essential for managing shared resources effectively and keeping operational costs down. And that broader vision of creating truly intelligent environments that actively support member productivity, comfort, and well-being, that aligns perfectly with the core value proposition of a high-quality co-working space. It connects to that idea the source mentions of super agency AI augmenting human potential within the workplace.
Okay, so pulling it all together, it seems co-working is uniquely positioned. It sits at the intersection of these different industries and can potentially benefit from the confluence of AI advancements happening in all of them.
That's the idea.
It can take the data-driven asset optimization insights from CRE, blend them with the hyper-personalization and service focus from hospitality and retail, and integrate the operational efficiency and intelligent environment concepts from modern workplace management.
Precisely. Co-working doesn't necessarily need to pioneer every single AI application from scratch. It can learn from these established use cases, adapt them cleverly to its unique, flexible model and community-centric ethos, and potentially accelerate its own AI maturity curve quite rapidly. The big challenge and the huge opportunity lies in how effectively the industry can integrate these diverse learnings into a cohesive, valuable, and importantly, human-centric member experience, while carefully navigating those hurdles like data privacy, cost, and integration complexity.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've seen where AI came from, how it's changing work in general, where it's being applied today across all the different players in the co-working ecosystem, and what we can learn by looking at how other more mature industries are already using it. What's next? What does the future look like? What's just over the horizon for the AI-powered co-working space?
Right, looking ahead, the source material paints a really compelling, maybe even slightly futuristic picture of the future co-working space. It describes it as evolving into an intelligent, adaptive environment.
Intelligent and adaptive.
Meaning it's not just a physical place with some tech bolted on. It's envisioned as a space where AI is deeply, seamlessly integrated, almost like a central nervous system connecting the physical environment, the digital tools members are using, and the services being provided, allowing the space itself to sense, respond, and even anticipate needs.
An environment that doesn't just react when I push a button, but maybe knows what I need before I do.
Exactly that kind of proactive potential. One of the key emerging trends discussed is hyper-personalization, but taken to a whole new level beyond what we see today.
How so?
Imagine AI being able to adjust individual workspace elements in real time. Things like the lighting intensity or color temperature above your specific desk, the airflow or temperature in your immediate zone, maybe even ambient noise levels via localized sound masking, all subtly adapting based on your learned preferences stored in your profile, or perhaps even responding to environmental cues or biometric data, though that raises obvious privacy questions.
Wow, personalized microclimates for work.
Potentially. And curating resources specifically for you when you arrive, maybe pre-booking your preferred type of focus pod, suggesting highly relevant micro-networking opportunities based on who else is physically present in the space right now and their skills or current projects cross-referenced with your own. Anticipating your need for a quiet zone versus a collaborative area based on your calendar or past behavior patterns before you even have to look for one.
That sounds incredibly productive.
Yeah.
But also, Maybe a little creepy if not handled right. You mentioned emotion AI earlier, too.
Right. The source does touch on the potential for things like emotion AI systems attempting to interpret user emotions from facial expressions or tone of voice to subtly adapt the environment or interactions. But it very rightly flags this as an area with significant ethical concerns that need extremely careful consideration and probably regulation. Transparency, consent, and robust governance are paramount as personalization gets deeper.
Yeah, the ethical tightrope gets even tighter there. Okay,
Oh.
so hyper-personalization is one future trend. What else?
More advanced predictive analytics, going beyond just predicting churn for current members. Forecasting long-term demand for flexible workspace, not just in one location, but across an entire city or region to help developers optimize their portfolio strategy. Predicting member lifecycle value with much higher accuracy, allowing for truly proactive long-term relationship management.
So smarter strategic decisions at the portfolio level, not just the single site level.
Exactly. Reducing risk, identifying expansion or divestment opportunities much earlier. AI-driven sustainability is another area expected to advance beyond just basic energy savings. Think optimizing energy use at a granular device-specific level, managing waste streams more intelligently using sensors and AI analysis, or AI assisting designers and operators in selecting the most sustainable materials and operational practices throughout the entire life cycle of the space.
Making green operations smarter and more effective.
Yes, and generative AI will continue to evolve rapidly. We'll see it creating not just marketing fluff, but potentially reliable first drafts for complex operational documents, leases, maybe even dynamic community guidelines that adapt based on feedback or usage patterns. And advanced generative design won't just be for the initial layout. The source speculates about truly adaptive spaces where AI could help plan or even automate the reconfiguration of modular walls or furniture based on dynamic short-term demand shifts predicted by the system.
Layouts that can actually redraw themselves based on who's booked for the next week or month. That really does feel futuristic.
Yeah. It definitely leans that way, probably a longer-term possibility contingent on advances in modular construction and robotics as well. Speaking of which, the source does mention the potential, likely further out, for AI controlling robotics for tasks like automated cleaning, security patrols, or maybe even basic concierge or delivery services within very large co-working campuses.
Okay, robot cleaners and receptionists might be a way off. What about connecting everything?
That's a key underpinning trend. Deep integration, especially with IoT, the Internet of Things, and potentially AR, augmented reality, and VR, virtual reality.
So AI is the brain connecting all the smart devices.
Exactly. AI acts as the central intelligence layer, connecting data from all the sensors, locks, lights, thermostats, coffee machines, printers, room booking panels, everything that's connected, IoT. This allows for that truly responsive building that can manage itself efficiently and proactively based on real-time conditions and predicted needs.
And AR, VR, how does that fit in?
AI could power more immersive experiences using AR and VR. Think architects doing virtual walkthroughs of AI-generated designs with clients wearing VR headsets. Operators offering incredibly realistic virtual tours to potential members anywhere in the world. Or maybe using AR overlays within the physical space to enhance collaboration for hybrid teams, showing virtual whiteboards or shared documents anchored to physical meeting rooms.
Okay, so the future space is deeply interconnected, personalized, predictive, maybe even physically adaptive. How do the roles of the humans change in this increasingly intelligent environment? What happens to the community manager, the designer, the developer?
That's a critical question. The source material addresses directly the evolution of stakeholder roles. Members, for instance, are expected to become more AI literate themselves. They'll likely come to expect these kinds of intelligent environments and seamless services. They might even actively use AI tools or interfaces provided by the space to co-create their own experience, setting detailed preferences, giving feedback that directly trains the AI,
Right.
etc.
So members become active participants in the AI system.
Potentially, yes. For operators, especially those frontline community managers, the prediction is a significant shift away from routine administrative tasks as AI handles more of the scheduling, answering basic questions, processing payments, maybe even initial onboarding steps. Their roles elevate
Elevate to what?
to become curators of unique human experiences, master community builders, strategic partnership developers, interpreters of the complex insights the AI surfaces about member needs and space usage. They become, as the source puts it, AI-augmented hospitality providers.
Okay, I like that. Less time clicking buttons, more time creating value and connection.
Precisely. More human connection, less administration overload. Developers and owners will likely rely even more heavily on AI for strategic decision-making, portfolio analysis, asset monitoring, dynamic pricing strategies, identifying new market opportunities. Their role becomes more data-driven and analytical at a strategic level.
And architects and designers, we talked about them being conductors.
Right. They transition further away from manual drafting and basic layout generation. Their expertise becomes focused on defining the right problems for the AI to solve, skillfully guiding the generative design process, integrating complex human factors and aesthetic considerations that AI might miss, ensuring the technology serves the overarching vision and user experience. They curate and refine the AI's output.
So, still essential, but the nature of their work changes.
Definitely. And vendors, the software providers, furniture companies, service contractors, they'll increasingly compete based on the sophistication, integration capabilities, and crucially, the ethical framework and trustworthiness of their AI solutions. They'll likely offer more holistic, predictive, integrated solutions rather than standalone products.
It sounds like across the board, AI isn't necessarily eliminating jobs, but it is fundamentally reshaping what people do in those jobs, pushing human effort towards higher level, more strategic, more creative, or more interpersonal tasks.
That's the consistent theme, yes. Elevating the human contribution by automating the automatable. And alongside this, expect the rise of more specialized, niche AI services developed specifically for the unique needs of co-working and flexible workspaces.
Like what? AI for what specific co-working problem?
Maybe AI designed specifically to analyze interaction patterns and subtly nudge layouts or programming to optimize for those valuable serendipitous interactions, or specialized AI tools for helping operators manage the complexities of hybrid teams using the space flexibly alongside remote workers. Tailored community engagement tools designed for specific niche co-working communities, for example, for creatives, for deep tech startups. Co-working platforms like Nexudis are already pioneering these kinds of built-in industry-specific AI features, and the broader PropTech sector will undoubtedly continue to develop more targeted solutions.
Okay, so the overall vision is clear. An intelligent environment where AI is seamlessly woven in, anticipating needs, optimizing usage, fostering engagement, making everything run more smoothly and efficiently. Facility management shifts from being reactive, fixing broken things, to being proactive and even preemptive.
That's the goal.
But looping back to those challenges we flagged earlier, as these spaces become more intelligent, collecting more data about everything, how do we navigate the ethical minefield, the data ownership questions, keeping the human touch central in this hyper-optimized future?
These challenges don't go away in the future vision. They actually become even more critical. Data ownership, clear governance policies, robust security, and ethical AI principles become absolutely paramount as the systems get more sophisticated and the data collection potentially more pervasive.
So transparency is key.
Essential. Operators will need to be crystal clear with members about what data is being collected, why it's being collected, how it's being used, and how it's not being used, and how it's being protected. Building and maintaining trust will be fundamental. The source material strongly emphasizes that demonstrating responsible, ethical AI practices could become a key competitive differentiator for co-working brands in the future. Members will choose spaces they trust. You need robust data governance frameworks and a clear, communicated stance on privacy right from the outset.
So while the future possibilities for efficiency, optimization, and personalization are incredibly exciting, navigating the ethical considerations, the data governance, and intentionally preserving the human element alongside the tech adoption is absolutely non-negotiable if you want that intelligent space to actually succeed long-term.
Absolutely. The ultimate success of the truly AI-powered co-working space will depend just as much, if not more, on getting that delicate balance right, fostering trust, empowering people, augmenting the human experience as it does on the raw power of the technology itself.
Okay, wow, that has been quite a journey. We've really covered a lot of ground. From realizing how AI has become this everyday tool that seemingly everyone is using,
That initial global shift.
to understanding how it's already changing the nuts and bolts of how individuals and teams actually get work done.
Speeding things up, augmenting capabilities.
Then diving deep into how it's specifically impacting co-working and flexible real estate today across operators, members, developers, designers, vendors.
The practical applications happening right now.
Learning from how adjacent industries like CRE, hospitality, and retail are already further along the AI curve,
Borrowing proven models.
envisioning that future of the truly intelligent, adaptive, personalized co-working environment.
The exciting and maybe slightly daunting horizon.
And importantly, touching on those very real challenges: cost, privacy, skills, and keeping that human connection central.
Yeah, it really highlights both the incredible potential ahead and the crucial considerations the industry needs to grapple with right now.
For me personally, digging into all this source material, one thing that really jumped out as surprising or maybe just unexpectedly clever was that specific use case you mentioned earlier, using AI to analyze tour transcripts.
Ah, yeah, the sales tour analysis.
It's such a practical, data-driven way to improve a core business process, sales, and conversion that honestly, I just hadn't thought about applying AI in that specific way before. It felt very tangible.
It's a great example of applying AI to unstructured data-like conversations. And for me, looking at this from the broader AI strategy perspective,
Mm.
what stands out as particularly noteworthy and perhaps uniquely challenging about applying AI specifically to the co-working context is exactly that point we keep coming back to: the absolute necessity of balancing the tech with the touch, balancing the immense potential for efficiency, optimization, and data-driven insights that AI offers with the fundamentally human-centric, community-driven nature of what makes co-working, well, co-working. It's not just about bolting on tech features. It demands this really thoughtful, harmonious integration that genuinely enhances rather than diminishes that core value proposition of human connection, collaboration, and experience. That inherent tension and the opportunity within it feels really pronounced in this industry compared to maybe others.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like the central tightrope walk. It's clear AI is poised to make co-working spaces incredibly smart, efficient, personalized in ways we're only beginning to see.
Hmm.
But as this technology gets woven more deeply into the physical and operational fabric of these spaces, how do we ensure, consciously and intentionally, that it not only boosts productivity and optimizes workflows, but that it actually deepens that sense of community, belonging, and authentic human connection that really is the heart and soul of what makes co-working special in the first place?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The one the industry needs to keep asking itself, constantly, as it builds out these more intelligent environments. How does the tech serve the human mission?
Definitely a lot to think about there. Well, we hope this deep dive has given all of you listening a clearer picture of AI's growing impact on the co-working and flexible real estate world. Maybe some concrete examples of what's happening today sparked some ideas, and perhaps you have a better sense of what you could explore or even implement next in your own space or work.
Yeah, hopefully it provided some useful context and maybe demystified things a bit. If you do want to dig deeper into the specific examples, the data points, the tools we discussed, you can find the source material we explored. It's sometimes referred to as the AI Co-working 101, 102, and 103 articles, so look out for those if you want the finer details.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into AI and co-working.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one.